She kisses him on the lips, like, in front of me, and I'm like...
What the fuck are you talking about? Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? You need to abort.
Shh. Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Is anybody listening?
Yeah, here's an iTunes review from Jammy Cake. My mom and I listened to the pod, and this week I texted, you might want to skip this week if you haven't listened, because dead mom sads. And she texted me back, oh yeah, I should have warned you. I called her to laugh, cry.
Aww.
This show is wonderful. Thank you both for sharing your moments to mostly lift us all up. Good golly.
Oh my God.
You really turn on the waterworks for everybody at the end of that episode, I think, last week.
Yeah, authentically.
Oh, yeah, and look at you now.
Well, that's very
I see
touching.
the tears welling up.
I'm both like, I'm so moved and I'm a little jealous that she could call her mom. I'm just kidding. I'm totally just kidding. It's very touching. Very moving.
I saw on Spotify a handful of people, numerous people chiming in about your coffee situation. This one was from Norm Marie. Oh, the coffee detox. I went through the same thing about 4 years ago. I have two recommendations. Mud water for a coffee alternative and bar method for exercise. Stay strong, Elizabeth. I'm so happy. Off coffee. So maybe that's...
Wow, someone got off the... Listen, hats off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see myself being off cough forever. It's just... I was doing really well.
Yeah.
Today's day 8. I'm having a hard time this morning.
Two things.
Okay.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the next thing
That
I'm
means a
about to
lot.
say might come feel insensitive or like
Okay.
I don't know. Now I'm about to take you down a peg or two.
Great.
But I really am proud of you for this because I know it's a thing. This has more to do with my weird intuition, and I just have a question for you.
Okay.
Last week, you had started this journey, and on Wednesday, okay, I was going to Target, as I love to do, as we know, and I was walking into Target, and I just got like a premonition, an intuition, just a feeling. You were out striking, so take yourself back to last Wednesday striking, okay?
Okay, I'm picketing last Wednesday. I don't remember that, but okay.
Okay. Well, this was 2 days ago. 2 days ago. We're recording this.
2 days ago.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
2
Okay.
days ago.
Okay, yeah.
All right. You're picketing. I just got this sense, and I know this is going to be so mean to hear. I just had this feeling like she cheated striking. Like that there was like a coffee sweets and like a sweet situation or something, and that you cheated. And I just want to know, did you maybe cheat one day, and was it on Wednesday?
But what's wild is, Psychic Andy,
Not so
Wednesday, I was picketing. I happened to run into the show creator, DJ Nash. We were picketing together.
Yeah.
And we, out on these picket lines, all of these companies are being very supportive and coming, or like writers' rooms are paying for a food truck to come and,
sure.
lots of stuff to support the writers. There was a coffee, there was this whole setup out of someone's car, but it was legit really good coffee, and they were making iced coffees and all these, and they were big fans of A Million Little Things. And so DJ had already talked to them, and he introduced me to them. And I was as tempted as I've been, because it was sitting right there. It was free. And everyone was saying how good it is.
Okay. So maybe I was feeling something.
Maybe you felt
my
urge, and then I decided not to do it, and I kept walking. But oh my gosh, that was the biggest temptation so far.
Since you are off this for your pelvic floor diet for a second, what I want you to do next week when you go in. Are you going in next week? This is a weekly situation, right?
Yeah,
or is it not?
But next week she couldn't get me in.
Ugh, okay, so you're going to have to wait till the following week. I really want you to explicitly ask, hey, what's the deal with the coffee?
I do.
Can I have decaf? What is it about it? I want you to ask about coffee and caffeine.
Okay.
Explicitly.
I will. And I should have this time. I want to say this. Mm-hmm. I really like this woman. She is so incredibly good at what she does. Mm-hmm. I have no doubt that things are going to get better under her oversight.
Yeah.
The pelvic floor is so fascinating. So she like gets in there,
Yeah.
puts her fingers in and stuff.
Yeah.
And she's walking around. There's so much more to it than just what you think there is.
Yeah.
There are all these different muscles intertwined and stuff.
Yeah.
And she's putting her finger on different muscles and she's like, do you feel this? Like how it's kind of tender. And sure enough, it's like, oh my God, that's so tender. And then she was like, I'm just going to hold this here.
Okay,
and
so what are you doing? This is so, are you just trying to like wind me up to say something stupid?
No, come on, Andy.
Okay, go on. Go on.
You can handle this.
No, but you do seem like you're trying to do something.
Not.
Okay, go on.
I swear to God, I'm not. I'm not looking for anything.
Okay, go on.
By the way, we should say Andy's on day 7. So.
Yes, okay, stop it. Just keep going. Go on.
It's funny.
Go on.
Okay.
Go on. I didn't even know how I know I brought up the coffee thing, but I didn't think we were going to talk about your pelvic floor therapy again. But go on.
I want to ask you something.
Finish your story.
Hey, Andy. This is what I mean. It's so funny because last week.
This is frustrating. Just
last
continue.
week we talked about your own sex cycle. Right now you're in the phase where you're kind of mean to me.
No, I'm not. This is why I'm getting so annoyed. I wasn't even talking about me saying, just go finish your story.
Okay.
Go on.
Andy, I will. Let me do it. You've shouted go on at me 70 times already. Okay.
So far from 70 times.
Andy.
I'm not the problem. All you have to do is continue. Instead of you keep saying my name.
You keep yelling at me.
Yes. Go forth. Go forth.
Okay. So she's putting her finger around. She's holding it. She then takes her other finger. She's like, I'm pressing. Please stop. Mm-hmm. Okay. She's like, I'm pressing this hard. Not hard at all. But
what do you mean she says I'm pressing this hard?
So, okay.
So
with her other finger, she presses on me on the outside and is like, this is how hard I'm pressing with my finger that's in you.
Where's this finger pressing?
Against like my arm or my hand.
Oh my God.
So I can feel what the pressure is. And it's amazing because it feels like she's pressing really hard inside.
But she's not actually.
She's not at all.
Little goes a long way.
Okay, yeah. And the muscle like releases. It's crazy. After 10 seconds of that, it starts to feel less and less. And you just, you seem like I don't know if you want to get out of this conversation or.
I'm fine.
Okay. So anyway, so where was I going with this? Okay. So really fascinating stuff. I want to say, and this kind of, it's interesting when you're looking for medical practitioners. Mm-hmm. What do you go based off of, right? Because when I went in there, some weird things happened. And the reason I brought this up is that I went to sit down because we have a little chat before we get started. And I'm sitting down next to her at her desk, and there's a huge fucking thing of coffee sitting right there.
Oh.
Which, she's allowed to have coffee,
a little
I guess.
Insensitive.
A little bit, but, whatever. It did.
But maybe she's not telling, maybe you're in a small percentage of people that have to get off the coffee.
No, I get the sense that this is something she starts with everyone.
Oh, then that's pretty fucked up.
It was right there. It was like right next to me. And I was just like, oh God. And then something funny happened. So there's like construction happening. A lot of dust around, there are like plastic sheeting up. It's in the midst of a transformation, the space. And there was a guy like vacuuming or mopping or like, I don't know, air blasting dust.
Okay, which of the three? That's
I think
vacuuming or air blasting or mopping.
I think vacuuming.
Okay.
Out in the hallway. So she was like, go ahead and sit down. I'm going to go, I don't know. So I went and sat down, and the hallway is like, it's open right to this hallway where he's right there. And I felt a little like, I don't know, it just felt like privacy. I know this is her every day and whatever, but I felt like a little weird having this guy vacuuming right there, like 5 feet away from me, and seeing me sitting there knowing what I'm there for. Felt a little weird.
And you'd already had some fingers action?
No.
This was before?
Before it. Just when I'm sitting there waiting.
But how do you know he knows what the deal is?
Because it's very clear. Like,
how is it very clear?
There are posters everywhere, and there's
what kind of posters?
Like pelvic floor posters, and he knows what they're there for. Well, he really knows what they're there for, because then she comes in and chats with me a little bit, and then she's like, "Okay, honey, well, you get undressed, blah blah blah. I'm gonna leave you." She gets up and she forgets to close it, or she gets up and she goes out in the hallway, and before I close the door, she goes over to the guy and she's like, what? What?
I almost said something so inappropriate. Do I have permission? It's really bad.
Yeah.
She goes over to the guy and says, "Hey, smell my finger."
Oh my God, Andy. Oh no. Okay.
Okay, what did she say to the guy?
She says, she was like, "Jose, when you're done with this, can you do?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like,
so they have a report. This is like her guy that's been helping with all this stuff. Like, they know each other.
Wait a second.
Okay, sorry.
And then she wraps her arms around him.
Shut the fuck up. This is her husband?
She kisses him on the lips, like in front of me. And I'm like,
what the fuck are you talking about? Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? You need to abort. This is like, you are in the wrong spot. No. You are in the wrong spot.
She's so good when she gets in there. It's so good.
No.
Oh my God. I might need tissue.
She kissed him on the lips?
Yeah. Yes. And it was a little weird.
A little weird. Elizabeth?
Okay.
This is...
Do you have tissue or anywhere? I'm laughing so hard I'm crying, and
Would a paper towel do?
Sure.
You okay?
Yeah. Do I have mascara all over?
No mascara. I don't see any
great.
like thing. So, okay. Go on this weird thought experiment for me for a minute. I mean, I guess we don't have to dive too far into how wildly inappropriate all this feels to me. Uh-huh. And maybe you should consider another outfit. So her husband's there helping, or partner, or maybe just the cleaning guy that she's having an affair with.
No, it's her husband.
So, okay, let me ask you this. This is such a dumb man thought experiment. But if you're in the vagina handling business, right? Historically, there used to be a lot more men gynecologists, right?
Yes.
And then there was like a sea change, I would say, that started in the 80s, 90s.
When women were starting to be allowed to, like, get medical degrees.
And also, like,
yeah.
I think I'll speak for all women here, but most women were like, I think I might, in many ways, I'd prefer to see a woman doctor for that area.
A lot of women feel that way, yes.
Right? That's not to say that I'm sure there's still some great men gynecologists out there.
There are some.
Some. But
it does
It is. So this is the thought experiment I'm going on.
Raises an eyebrow. Yep.
This is the thought experiment I'm going on. Would you prefer a woman who's making out with the husband in the reception area on the lips? Or what if you found out this woman came out to the receptionist, who was another woman, and kissed the woman receptionist on the lips? Okay? It's a weird thought experiment here. So if she's
okay,
queer, okay, does that change anything for you? Would you have a preference? We can also do this thought experiment with,
my
say,
preference would be there's no kissing happening.
No, I know, but I just want to bring sexuality into the profession.
Great.
Do you know what I mean? We can slice this different ways. What if it's like a gay doctor urologist? Like if you found out your penis doctor was gay versus not gay.
How is it relevant though?
Because this is how it's potentially relevant in the gynecology thing that we were just talking about. If you like vaginas, they're your thing.
Sexually.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're a gay dude and you like penises and you're like, you know what? I'm also a great urologist. Do you see the thought experiment I'm trying to do?
Kind of, but it's very different to me.
So tell me how. That's what I want to know.
Here's how.
That's why we're here.
First of all, I just want to say, let's take the kissing out of all of it.
That just set up the perfect, arena. Yeah,
on something
perfect way in.
Something that's been eating away at you for decades. You finally get the opportunity to voice this thought experiment. So here's the thing. Mm-hmm. A gay female gynecologist or pelvic floor therapist has the same equipment. And so...
Ooh, this is a big pro that you're bringing up.
The interest in wanting, particularly, and I think this is different for the urology example.
Yeah.
Women, pelvic floor therapy is a relatively new thing. There is such a lack of care and awareness given to women, and they're hats off to all the amazing gynecologists out there, but the fact that prolapse, for example, I feel like in the last 20 years it has only been when it's been here's the thing that happens that we should address, because it's medicine having been a male-dominated industry. In women, the way women gave birth, even our grandmothers' ages, was so barbaric, and anything having to do with a female or female reproductive system has been so dismissed and overlooked forever that I would understand. Okay, this is an interesting thought experiment.
I know, and part of your point that you just made, I realized isn't a point, because the straight and the gay woman doctor both have the equipment.
Yes, and so I can understand their passion for wanting to help women.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes women don't get the help that they need and deserve in that department.
Yeah.
Way more likely the situation than a gay woman's ooh, I want to be up in that. I more understand. I mean, I do raise an eyebrow at male gynecologists.
Okay.
And not all once again, hashtag not all male gynecologists. I know there are some, and I know I'm offending someone, but even you're so well adjusted. You're you don't have any wild kinks that I know of or anything, but talking about day 14 energy or day 18 energy or whatever, there is this roiling, and I guess it's the perpetuation of the human race. I mean, this is what it is this men with high sex drives, and I know sex drives can be all over the spectrum, but I could totally see, I'm much more likely to think especially a straight man being this is kind of connected to a kink of some sort or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas I would never think that of a woman, straight or gay.
Gotcha. Okay, quick experiment. So, like, let's say male gynecologist. You find out you have to pick a male gynecologist. They're both equally qualified, but one is gay.
Picking him.
You're picking him, right? Okay, so that's...
Did you hear about, speaking of like weird kinks, there are now all of these with 23andMe and stuff, all these male fertility doctors. Not all of them. I think there are 2 or 3 cases, but one of them there was that documentary about
right, that the guy
where they
has,
were
like,
inseminating the women with their own sperm and all this stuff. Well, one of them just this week died in this really freak situation where this, you're kind of signing up for it, but this guy basically very publicly posted about how he created this airplane that like he built himself, and it was like he put it together, and the fertility doctor went up in the airplane, and the airplane fell apart in the middle of the air. So it wasn't even like the airplane crashed. It was like the airplane fell apart and the men dropped.
Okay. Okay. You are the best storyteller I personally know. But where we were all going with you in that story was like, and one of these former women that got inseminated by him murdered him or something. Not that he just so happened to answer some weird guy's ad about a homemade airplane. I mean, it's a good story, but also...
I set you up for a whole different... I'm sorry.
All right, let's get out of all of this. I think we...
Well, actually, I don't want to yet.
Okay.
So... I am very grateful. The kiss did throw me a little bit, but then...
You know what? It's what... I'm legitimately here, everything I've heard so far, I would bounce, to be completely honest. And I'm going to tell you why. If I'm being like my real self here for just 1 second. The lack of like no pamphlet thing, to me, I really do think is kind of crazy.
Well, I think it was a new employee, and I don't think that... I think she might actually have come and went. I'm not sure.
And then a public kiss in that setting.
Now, she may have thought that I had already closed the door.
I don't care. It's even like weird. Like,
okay.
Either way you do it.
Yeah.
I just want to say I think it's wildly unprofessional.
Yeah. Well, I think
she wears gloves, right?
Yes, and she's very hyper clean. You would appreciate this about her.
What's the never mind.
But of course she wears gloves, but what she does, I mean, it is so fascinating what she does when she's in there. And she explains it all. She's like very educational. Now I'm like defending her.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so anyway, but this is all, and I'm not drinking coffee. We went to this really fun party where I would have loved to have had a few drinks, didn't drink alcohol, but actually was so glad because we got up early, went up to the cabin next day. And it was probably the first time I've been to a party not drinking in I don't know how long. Mm-hmm. And it was so nice. And what I will say is I had zero social anxiety, which is
a bonus.
Almost never happened. And it's becoming very clear to me that it is linked to alcohol. So then, and also feeling great the next day, whatever. Without coffee now, the first few days I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I can't function without it, which is how I have felt every day. It's like, I'm not actually awake until I get coffee in me.
Okay.
Now I feel awake without coffee. So that's
that's great.
Full pro. So I do there are things I'm liking about it, but I definitely miss it. Now, I also had kind of an emotional breakdown after PT the other day, and I got in the bath and I was just thinking about that whole area and speaking of how it doesn't get the care it needs. And I was just thinking about the births of our children. And I mean, both were in their own ways very magical, sacred moments of time for us. And I realized, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot, and I'm sorry, But I've told the story of Otis's birth so many times,
Mm-hmm.
or you and I have talked about it together to someone.
Mm-hmm.
I have never heard you tell me, like, in detail what your experience of that was without me kind of weighing in or it being tied to my experience.
Just how really? We've definitely talked about
I
this.
want to hear it from you.
Well, our daughter, you had a very long labor.
40 hours.
So my memory of that is just the kind of stress of that and just that huge, intense feeling of that's right before your world's going to change in theory, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so the big unknown, and right before the big unknown, you're in this crazy hard thing, and you seemed at times very scared, helpless, sort of. And so I think I was very worried, but wanted to be as helpful as possible. And I definitely remember us sleeping in the nursery that one night.
That was an amazing night. It's funny because I think I look at the experience with rose-colored glasses, obviously, like I'm outside of it.
Yeah.
But I do remember because I was laboring in the glider.
Mm-hmm.
And you were sleeping like on the floor because you needed to get rest. I mean, one of us needed to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Then, and I can remember walking around the block with you and stuff. I have like little snapshots of that. But then being at the birthing center, I mean, the main memory is just that magical when our daughter came up and looked, you put
in the
her
tub.
on your chest and she looked right up at me and like, that's just magical. Yeah. So those are my main like memories of that. But yeah, it's kind of hard to explain.
But I want to hear about the Otis one.
Yeah, Otis was born in our car. So that one, you start labor, and that one we had to keep going back and forth to the birth center because what did you have that thing? What's it called?
I forget what it's called, but it's like a bacteria that they swab for beforehand. So I knew this was happening a week or two before.
And you have to take like...
You have to do antibiotics throughout labor. And so
yeah,
I had to go into the birth center at a certain like time periods, time
keep
stamps.
going back like every 8 hours or something like that. Okay. I remember that going back and forth, and then I remember this labor, you seemed much more frustrated, I think, at times because you had already had a kid. So you kind of know what's supposed to happen, even though the last one took so long. But I feel like this one was real frustrating for you. Mm-hmm. And so I was worried about that, and I was trying to be as helpful as possible, but it was a different situation than the last one. And then I remember I talked a lot more to the midwives this time, just me. Mm-hmm. Kind of being like, this is where she's at. It's hard to tell. Like, you almost didn't seem as rational or in the know as you were the time before. Mm-hmm. So I think this time...
I was less prepared, honestly, because you have a kid, your second pregnancy. Like, the first kid, I had spent months preparing for this. And the second one, it was just like, oh, shit, it's happening now. And I hadn't, like, done any of the...
Yeah.
You know.
And I think there was I felt a lot more pressure because we did keep having to go back for the medicine or IV thing, but then we would come home and keep going back. And then it got to this point where we didn't want to prematurely go in because we'd prematurely gone in before or something. But then I felt like I knew when it was time. And I even think that I had to convince the midwives. So I was like, oh, no, I think it is time. Mm-hmm. We're coming back. And then sure enough, we got into some traffic and shit, we were like 5 minutes away.
Well, walk me through this. You're just saying what happened, but being in the traffic, tell me your emotional experience. Like, particularly, this is what I'm interested in.
I think I can remember the beats of the drive. And you were making these like deep, low kind of noises. And I think even there being an excitement for me, like, okay, now the show's on the road. It's happening. Like, because we had been kind of had false alarms.
Yeah.
So I think there was an excitement. And I don't think I was freaked out the first half of the drive at all. Then we got on the freeway, and you seemed to getting like more intense, and I was like, oh shit, oh shit. And then when we got off the freeway, it was like you were really going for it, and then all of a sudden you're like, I think it's coming, I think it's coming, and I was like, oh shit.
Did I say it's?
Or he's coming,
Okay.
or it's one of those.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do, but I didn't. I kind of took care of it. Like I called the midwife while still driving. It was slightly raining, and they were just like, keep coming. And I was like, okay, we're gonna do that. And I feel like I did handle it.
You handled it so well. You stayed super calm. I mean, I was in the passenger seat. I couldn't put the seat back because there were two car seats. I remember, I mean, I was an animal at this time. Like, the images I have are flashes.
Yeah.
But I remember realizing his head was right there.
Yeah. And I don't remember, I mean, I remember that last part of the drive, and I think you probably being like, I can feel the head, or something like that. But I still don't think I realized how quick. I mean, we literally parked, the door opened, and
the midwives were waiting. And
they were standing in the parking lot. They opened the door, and he was born right then. Like, he was there. So it's
kind of good.
crazy.
I think you didn't realize maybe I had.
I mean, I knew how you were like situated. You were lifting up your pelvic area floor. But yeah, no, it was just wild. But it was just like, I just was like, I knew to be calm, and fucking we did our best.
Wow, it all worked out. You were so good.
That was wild.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Does that sort of answer that? I feel like I more described just the events than I think you wanted more of a.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's because you weren't totally aware, like, that basically he was there. I mean, I think he could have been born sooner. I was trying to like not.
Yeah.
So, anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, I have a fun thing to share with you.
Okay.
So I got a phone call, a couple days ago, and I've been waiting on a couple different phone calls. I'm waiting to find out about the biopsy, a couple biopsies I've got. So I'm picking up phone calls these days, anything that's like LA based. Somehow, you, from like signing me up to, I think like political things and newsletters, I get so much
I don't know why.
spam, and people are like, may I speak to Elizabeth? Anyways, I pick up the phone.
I haven't put your number down. I don't know what that is.
I pick up the phone, and they're like, is this Elizabeth? And I was like, oh, no. And almost just hung up because I'm used to this. Mm-hmm. But they're like, this is the LAWP, LAWP, Department of Water and Power. And I was like, oh, because I'm in the midst, we just got an electric car, and I'm in the midst of like some paperwork and stuff to find out about rebates and like them coming to put a charger in and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, oh, can I help you? As soon as they say LAWP. And the guy's like, yeah, well, this is dispatch. And I'm just calling to let you know you're scheduled today an hour and a half from now to have your power turned off due to delinquent like payment or something. And I should have, I don't know why, but he had me. And I was like, oh, what's going on? And he's like, well, you're past due 2 months. And I'd recently logged into the account. Mm-hmm. And they do this weird thing where they bill every 2 months.
Yeah, they do. It's
right?
Weird, yeah.
And you and I had even just talked about how that's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, maybe we are. Like, and he's like, all I'm seeing here is that like the card on file was declined. I recently got a new credit card in the mail. So I'm like, oh, that's plausible. So this fucker has me, okay? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I'm asking for info. He gives me his name.
Okay.
And he's like, what you have to do, he's like, do you have a piece of paper? I'm going to give you a confirmation number. then you need to call this phone number and let them know that you got like a dispatch something to take care of your bill. And like this whole like list of steps that I've got to do to keep our power from turning off.
Okay.
And I'm still kind of flustered, but I'm writing down the confirmation number. I'm writing down the phone number.
Oh my God.
Everything. And then I scurry to the computer to look up our account. And I go into our account and it's like amount due 0. And I mean, I instantly turn to like, oh, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I say, do you know what I think? I think you're full of shit. Okay? Like,
you did not.
I swear to God. Okay? And it took him aback so much that then I was like, oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Because he was like, excuse me, sir? And for a split second, I was like, oh no, is this real?
Legitimately.
So I had a crossroads right there. And I don't know why, even with that, like, feeling unsure all of a sudden, I doubled down and I go, you're full of shit. And he goes, well, sir, there's going to be someone at your house in an hour to turn off your power. And I said, well, when they get here, I know how to handle that. That's what I said. And then I just hung up. Yes. I don't know what got into me.
Oh my God.
But I was like, well,
that
when they
is
get
so
here,
threatening.
I know how to handle that. And that's why I texted you. If someone comes to the door, let me take care of it.
That was very ominous.
Because at that point, I'm like, is the scam so big that they're sending people out to like scare people? And then I realized, like, of course they're not.
No one's.
That would be ridiculous. But then the next half hour, I'm like going down a Google wormhole looking up these numbers, and then it's like some lady's number, and then I'm like fantasizing about pranking them back, calling the number.
Oh.
Like I'm getting riled up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I went for it.
That's so unlike you.
I don't know what I don't know what got into me.
I'm so proud of you. How fun.
Yeah, but that's maybe not the proper, like, that's maybe not the proper response in some cases because...
No, they're probably scamming people. And listen, that type of scam is such a low, because they're scamming people who think that they could have defaulted on paying their water and gas bill. Like,
yeah, it's so fucked up.
It's targeting probably low-income people who have this stress in their lives. Like, really fucked up shit. So
no, I think horrible.
I think you're justified in saying that.
Yeah.
That's very funny to me.
Yeah.
I wish I could have overheard that. Like, if I had overheard that.
I mean, honestly,
like,
the best part was
happening?
so good at the guy's reaction, though, where I was like, uh-oh. But fortunately, I doubled down. I made the right call.
Okay, I love that. I wanted to talk to you about Ikea.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
Okay. I went on such a journey, and Ikea is so brilliant. In fact, recently Forbes came out with like the top world's billionaires and what they do and stuff, and I was fully expecting whoever invented Ikea to be there, because I'm like, he wasn't. I assume it was a he, because most of them are. But
what do you mean most of them are?
Most of the top billion. There's like 2 women.
Oh. It's a man's world.
It's a man's world. So anyway, is it a woman who created Ikea? I don't think so. I'll feel very bad.
You don't think so? Why? Because a woman couldn't do that?
Who made Ikea? Who
made it?
Okay, Ingvar Kamprad. Okay, so great.
Does he look like the Swede you would think he is?
Totally.
Is it Swedish or Norwegian?
Sweden.
Okay.
Sweden. So, oh my gosh, look at this guy.
Oh, he's adorable.
He's adorable. So, you know, you walk into it is the world's biggest Ikea, or North America's biggest Ikea is in Burbank.
Oh, yeah. It's fucking huge.
So I'm like, I need to go there because there's this dresser that I want to have in the cabin, and there's only one left, and it's at the Burbank store. And
Yeah.
So I hustle over there. I go in, and it's like built to take you through these phases, you know.
Yeah, you got to walk through the whole store.
I mean emotional phases.
Oh.
So I swear to God, some psychoanalyst genius was part of the development of the IKEA experience.
Yeah.
Because you start off going like, oh my gosh, this is so fun and pleasant. I'm about to go into this like fun world and look at all this stuff. You know what? I'll get this cool yellow bag and start filling it up with like stupid shit that the kids would like or whatever. I'm here for this dresser. Mentally, I'm just getting this dresser, and if there are like a few little tchotchkes and one baking sheet.
Okay.
So I'm mentally prepared. My game is strong.
Yeah.
It breaks you down. So then you start going through like the kitchen areas, and they're like the model kitchens where everything.
So you're still on the like furniture level.
You're on the showroom level.
The showroom level. That's a great way.
You're going through like little rooms that are totally set up and look great, by the way. They look so great that you start to convince yourself, oh, we need a coffee table in the cabin. Mm-hmm. That one looks pretty cool and nice.
Sure.
Like, I know IKEA's not supposed to be the best quality, but this looks really good.
Sure.
And like this whole place looks good. And you know what? IKEA kitchens are really cool, and the drawers are designed really well.
Sure.
And like you start to turn into an IKEA person, and you actually start to become part of the IKEA world, and it is a different world, and you mentally start to take pictures of things and going like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna get this coffee table and doing this stuff. And then you keep going, and so now you're getting overwhelmed because you're like, well, I needed a coffee table I also need like...
You're still in the showroom section?
Yeah. I also need this other stuff. Like, so now I'm going to start looking at, now that I'm an IKEA person, I'm going to fill all of my needs here at IKEA. So I'm going to walk through and be like, I also need this, and I need this, and I need this, and what's that, and that. And then you get very overwhelmed. And this is about when you're going down the stairs to go into the area, which is just, so now you're getting out of the showrooms and into the areas where it's just like, here are all the beds. Here are all the dressers. You saw them upstairs in layouts of how they could work in your life.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's at the very end. You're talking about you get into the section where now you can start putting things in your cart.
No, I'm not wrong. That's not at the very end. At the very end, are you talking about the warehouse?
Yeah.
No. First,
okay.
Yes, you get a cart when you go downstairs, okay? Yeah. You're now in if you're in Dante's Inferno, you're in the 5th layer of hell. The first 4, you didn't even realize that you were in hell. In fact, you thought maybe this is you now. This is your new identity. Then you get your cart. When you get your cart, that's a commitment you're making. And there are now, yes, there's the room with like all the kitchen stuff and all the whatever. Yeah. But there's the room with all the rugs and all the textiles. Yeah. There's also the room with all the beds are just there. They're not in showroom configuration. They're in just the bedroom. And
downstairs?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's just the dresser's room. And then there are rooms with things that you didn't even know you needed, but you might need. And like, you should be more organized in your life. Like, why are you not organized the way this IKEA is?
Yeah.
And you start to beat yourself up.
Wow,
okay.
Jesus.
So you're starting to really hate yourself. And while you're doing that, you're questioning everything. And then you see in the showroom the coffee table that you thought looked great upstairs. Well, it chips easily because this one has 4 chips on it and it looks shitty. And then you're starting to question everything. You've committed now 2 hours of your life to this hellhole, and then you're getting through it, and you reach a point where you're like, I'm not buying anything here, actually. I'm going to ditch everything.
Whoa.
I'm either, here's a crossroads. It's like your crossroads with this guy. I'm either buying everything in this IKEA, and I'm changing my entire life to become an IKEA person.
Yeah.
Or I'm leaving with no things.
Fuck it all.
Fuck it all. And so I had kind of reached that point.
Yeah.
And so then I'm just like trying to get out of there. You can't get out. You got to maze your way through. And I was like, I did mean to buy a baking sheet, so I will
Mm-hmm.
buy the baking sheet. Everything else is not happening. Then at the very end, they have like, well, not even at the very end. They have like fun things. Then once I've accepted I'm not buying anything here,
Mm-hmm.
and also I found out along the way that someone had already gotten the last dresser.
Frustrating.
I then was like, I became unhinged, and I was like, well, now I'll just shop for fun. Now I'll just buy things that are fun, that I don't need, that don't speak to who I
But
am.
wasn't that always all of this is stuff you don't need?
No, it was, well, yes, but I thought I
bigger, on a
needed
bigger
it.
scale.
I thought I needed it.
Okay.
And now it's just like, oh, this like cool rainbow doormat. Sure.
Yeah.
This tchotchke, blah, fine. It's not changing my life. I'm not becoming an IKEA person by buying these things. But my purchases were so unhinged. I mean, I bought frozen fucking cinnamon rolls. Like,
Yeah.
I
goodness
was
sakes.
throwing, and they were gross. I was throwing everything like random. You know, I walked out of there, I spent $270, and you said later, you're like, what'd you buy at Ikea? And I was like, search me.
I haven't
don't
seen anything.
fucking
Yeah.
know.
So do you have some surprises for the cabin or something?
Yeah, there's some stuff for the cabin.
Here's what I think a lot of people relate to what you just said. I think if you're the IKEA designer, what you're going for is first showrooms, get everybody hyped up like you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Then you dip down into the level where you can start filling your cart. To me, that's halfway through your journey, and it is like a new jolt of energy that you need because you're like, now I can grab things, and now some of these things are actually mine.
You don't think that they are intending to break people down?
No. I think the spirit. I think it can affect people different ways. You went on that journey, which is probably a lot of people go on, but I think some people start getting tired at that showroom at the end, and then they're like, fuck, and then they go downstairs, and then they're like, oh, but now I can start getting the stuff. Now, by the time they get through that, the reason they put the warehouse ugly at the end where you have to get the furniture is because now they got you. You got a cart full of stuff. Now you got to do the hard work.
You've taken pictures, you've measured stuff.
Yeah, now you have to do the hard work of finding the huge thing and getting like the flatbed cart and shit. But you're already in this far, you already got a cart of dumb shit.
Yeah.
But
now, I'm surprised, like, your ADHD doesn't fucking get so triggered at a place like that. I'm like, to me, it just becomes so overwhelming that I want to just, like, scrap it all.
But see, here's the thing. I have a plan, and I took the kids to IKEA a few weeks ago, and we actually had an amazing time. Because it's like when I go to Target, when I go to the grocery store, I've got my plan. I write my lists, I've mentioned before, exactly the flow of the store. I know what I'm going to get. And IKEA, like with the kids, yes, we walk through the whole showroom, but I was like, we'll go through the showroom, and they have fun. They're like fucking with stuff, looking at stuff. Then we start getting the stuff, and I know exactly. I'm like always hunting for the thing that I want that's next on the list, so I'm focused. And it is, I think, kind of fun to pick out like one dumb thing that you don't need at IKEA. But yeah, it doesn't stress.
You stick to your plan.
It doesn't stress me out if I have a plan. I think you, not only at IKEA, you are not a big fan of like IKEAs or the Targets of the world in general, right?
Well, no, I'm not. I like Target, but I'm not like, I don't like to go do this stuff.
But this is the thing is, you like Target in the sense of like the daily, like getting the paper towels, or I shouldn't say daily, like the monthly, getting the paper towels and dumb shit like that. I do like that stuff because I have a plan. I know how to do it. I can be in and out really quick.
You feel like you've accomplished something.
Yeah. You like Target. You'll see where I'm going with this. You like Target when you go like once every 6 months or once a year, where it's like you need a couple things, and then you get inside, and then Target does seduce you.
Yes, it does.
And so I know anytime you go to Target, you come back with so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
so you're a different type of, you're built differently for those type of stores. And that's how IKEA got you. But the thing is, there's more stuff at Target that you'll actually use than at IKEA. That's
my biggest fear, and this is what grabs hold of me at IKEA, is there's going to be something in 3 months, especially we're outfitting the cabin right now with all the shit, that I'm going to go, God damn it, why didn't I get that at Ikea when I was there?
Because
Now
going back seems crazy.
Because going back,
for one thing,
I realized one thing. I could eat a 4-course meal before walking in those doors. By the time I'm at the warehouse section, my blood sugar is so low. I've never left that store not feeling.
That's why they got the food at the end.
But that's another thing. I bought like these gummy moose heads that are Coca-Cola flavored that...
Did you already have them?
There's some in the cupboard. I ate like half the bag because I was just like, I cannot get through this without something.
Well, next time you need an IKEA thing, I'll gladly.
Okay, great.
On a more serious note, you know peanuts in the shell?
I'm familiar, yeah.
I got a bag recently, and it's a good bag. For whatever reason, sometimes there's good bags and bad bags.
Yes.
And I feel like I can eyeball them. Like, if the shells are lighter in color, they're better.
That's something that when you eat enough of a product, like, for example, products that you think are going to be uniform throughout, Ben & Jerry's cookie dough. You've now had so much Ben & Jerry's cookie dough.
I know when it's off.
You can... Or not off necessarily. It would be something that undetectable to someone else. But you can tell from pint to pint which is the good. And I feel that way about Pringles, plain Pringles.
Oh, sure.
I can tell when it's a good can and I can tell when it's a bad can.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Carry on, sorry.
Peanuts in the shell, much bigger margin of taste on those.
Yes.
Right? And I've noticed different brands have different vibes and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody knows when you get good peanuts in the shell, they're delicious.
Everyone knows that.
Here's my question.
Okay.
Why can't they make a product that is those peanuts
that aren't in the shell? God damn it. If last week was Andy's Handies, this week is what? Rosen's
peanuts in the shell, out of the shell, or like, why hasn't someone figured that out? Unshelled, because regular Planters, I guess they call it cocktail peanuts.
They think
that's a different beat.
They think they have figured it out.
No, I don't think they have. It's a different. There must be a reason why.
Yeah,
because dry roasted ain't it. Cocktail peanuts ain't it. So help me God, someone's going to say blistered peanuts are it. That's not it. It's a different thing. But I'm like, if this exists and you can like order it by mail, someone let me know. I would fucking love that so much.
To not have to do the work. But isn't that part of what makes them so good?
Oh, it is part of it.
You have to work for them.
But absolutely, you're onto that. But if there was the alternative that every once in a while I could just have a snack of those tasting peanuts without the work, damn. And have them a little more consistent too. That's the other thing is like, how many are good when you're doing them out of the shell? Like 60%?
Yeah.
And then like
but
30% are like, and then 10% are real bad.
Yeah, but when you get those bad ones, you have to immediately have a good one.
And you search for it. And you have to earn it.
Well, speaking of dry roasted peanuts, so in high school, I babysat for this wonderful family every Saturday night, which I'm like, that's such a good practice if you can afford it, which we are not in a place to do this right now. But like, I love the idea of people having a babysitter scheduled every Saturday night and having like, that's their night that they go and do something.
Once a week. That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also like my going rate back then was not, now it's so expensive. So,
sure.
But
your going rate is so expensive.
my going.
But you are available.
I am available.
Right now, especially.
Especially right now.
Patrons, if you sign up for Patreon.
Oh, I forgot to plug that at the beginning.
Plug it now.
If you want to support the show, which we would love, it's patreon.com/nobody's listening right. You get a free monthly, not free again, you do pay for it, a monthly bonus episode. You get perks like my lemon bars recipe we put up there last week and random shit like that.
And you can solicit for babysitting and get her rates.
Yes, that's right. And still, once we hit 500, we're blasting out this theme music.
Yeah, you got it.
Andy, you got to get ready soon because it's coming.
With the extended mix, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I used to babysit, and this family was such a sweet family. I'm still in touch with them to this day.
Cute.
They the dad is like a heart doctor,
Okay.
cardiologist, I believe they're called, heart surgeon. And the mom, well, they're just like a healthy family. They didn't have a lot of like the good snacks, but what they had always on hand was dry roasted peanuts.
Oh, yeah.
And that was definitely a stage in my life where I was hungry. Like my family didn't have good snacks. So anytime I babysat, I would be like, ooh, what's the snack situation? I wouldn't go wild because that's rude. But mostly the families were like, help yourself to anything.
Oh, yeah.
So I went through so many dry roasted peanuts because it was the only kind of thing that was.
They're great too.
They're so good. But
every once in a while, they're great.
I can't even see a can without thinking about the Murphy family in St. Louis because that was my go-to there. And I ate them to a degree that I can guarantee that Mrs. Murphy and Dr. Murphy have had the conversation at one point in time, like, God, Elizabeth, like, I wonder if it were you and me would probably like make a very faint mark of like where the peanuts are in the jar.
I mean, I do that with everything in the house.
No, but just to see where I would get to, like, if you and I were like, God, she's eating a lot of peanuts.
If we had a babysitter that like housed the whole thing, we would be talking about it on this show.
I probably, shit you not, went through like half a can of those peanuts.
It's probably
in a Saturday night. So I'm like, I would love to know how much they talked about it, or if it was a thing in their world, or if they're normal people, not like us, and didn't mention it. But I'm like, I would find that entertaining and interesting as parents.
Yeah.
Wow, she loves, like, for
but
Christmas,
does it take
should we
away
get
like
her
babysitter credibility? Like, say you've got your roster of babysitters, you got 3, and one of them is like eating you out of house and home in the dry roasted peanuts department. Is that endearing, or is it like I'm going to pick Stacy instead?
Well, it depends on your attitude.
What's Stacy's deal?
I would find it endearing. Like, I also, babysitters today, I guess it's, everything's more expensive. So maybe it's that food's more expensive or whatever. But of course, we're always like, help yourself to anything. Usually if we're ordering something and a babysitter, we know they're coming over, we're like, let us know what you want. But they usually bring food. Like, it's a different ball game. It's not, I feel like they bring their own stuff to eat. And maybe if there's something there that we're like, please have whatever, they'll have a little, but it's a different situation. I used to have this entitled expectation of like, I'm going to eat whatever.
Like, you were excited about the gig because you're like, ooh, now I get to see what
food there
got.
was. And yeah.
That's adorable.
All right. Well, we did it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Again, support us on patreon.com/nobody's listening right. And you can find really fun clips. Andy's, your skills continue to amaze on Instagram at nobody's listening right.
I like making those videos.
Yeah, they're very entertaining. Anyway, good night.
Good night.
Nobody's listening, right?